Hey guys, Boston Ramos, and this Sunday, December 4th, the Miami Dolphins will be traveling to San Francisco to play the 49ers. San Fran is 7-4, Miami Dolphins 8-3. Kickoff is set for 4:05 p.m. Eastern Time, 1:05 Pacific Time. This game will be televised on Fox, so anyone wondering where the game is at, it's on there. All right, this is the first time in a while that the Dolphins aren't favored to win. In terms of betting and in terms of ESPN's matchup predictor, they have the Dolphins with a 35.7% chance, which is not horrible considering the team that the Dolphins are facing in the 49ers, who are favored at 63.9%, tie at 0.04. Betting odds, San Fran is favored -4, and then in terms of spread, and money line -205 for the 49ers, +170 for the Miami Dolphins. Plus 170, take that plus money all day. Over under set at 45.5. Tough over under. Both teams kind of match each other up pretty well, in my own opinion. Good defense for the 49ers, good offense for the Dolphins. I mean, the 49ers have the best defense in the NFL. We'll talk about that in a sec. Statistically, they have the best defense. Dolphins have a pretty good offense. Things are coming around. Things are looking better for the Miami Dolphins. Offensively, with Tua back at the helm. Defensively for the Dolphins, pretty good squad. Bend, don't break type of defense. 49ers offense is starting to heat up, which is quite concerning, but I think things may be set back, and I'll say why when we talk about the 49ers injuries. But for the Dolphins injuries, we have Teron Armstead, left tackle, listed as doubtful with a pectoral injury. And reports from what I've seen is season threatening. So that gives you a perspective on what may be happening with Teron Armstead. If it is season threatening, I say don't play him this game. I feel like you can let him sit these next two games against the 49ers and the Chargers. Need him back for the Buffalo Bills game. If that's the case, it'll be good for the Dolphins. I understand he's one of our best offensive tackles. You don't want to not have him in the lineup. But if it's season threatening, you want to try to keep him on ice for as long as possible for this potential playoff run that the Dolphins are trying to do. So if that's the case, sit him. But right now, listed as doubtful, so may not play. But some guys are questionable. Are Myles Gaskin, running back, with a shoulder injury. Teddy Bridgewater, quarterback, with a knee injury. So Teddy hasn't suited up in the past almost 3 games. I'm pretty confident with Skylar Thompson as backup quarterback. If anything, God forbid, happens to Tua, knocking on that wood, because don't want anything to happen to him. Gaskin, more of a depth type of role. Just Mostert's not on the injury report, so that's very good. And then Wilson. Why am I forgetting his first name right now? Wilson right now is having quite some good games right now for the Dolphins. He's scored in every single game in the first 3 games of the Dolphins. He's found the end zone each and every time, which is awesome to see. So I think the Gaskin injury, if he's questionable, it's fine if he doesn't suit up. I would also like to see Savon Ahmed get some reps if possible. Just lining up that backfield depth for the Miami Dolphins. Now, guys who are confirmed out or on injured reserve are Austin Jackson. He's just as guard, but he's a right tackle for the Dolphins. He's out with ankle injury, and I'm pretty sure it's the same ankle that has been bothering him since the beginning of the season. Either way, he was essentially a revolving door in the lineup, and it's unfortunate that he's out because I think he's probably better than, I believe, Greg Little, who will be filling in for him. But still, got to be playing a little bit better, especially for a first-round pick. Byron Jones, cornerback, is listed as out with his Achilles injury. Some news from that is the Achilles is fine. The only problem is he isn't at full speed yet. And Dolphins don't want to put him out there until he's confident with being able to run at a good pace. Make those cuts, do the things that you got to do as a cornerback in the NFL, guarding the best receivers each and every week. Byron Jones definitely will be guarding the second wide receivers, but he will definitely match up against ones here and there. And the last thing you want to do is put them in a position to fail. Right now, we have really good play out of Kader Kohu, who's stepped into a huge role, especially with Nick Needham going out. So he's pretty much the second, if not the third, cornerback on this roster for the Dolphins. So props to Kader Kohu. I think found the diamond in the rough there. Other guys who have been on injured reserve, but this is pretty recent, within the last 2 to 3 weeks, is Emmanuel Agba, defensive end, with a torn tricep, and Liam Eichenberg with a knee injury on injured reserve. Aside from that, nothing new that I haven't mentioned in the past month or so. Now, for the 49ers, big factor is Deebo Samuel, wide receiver, is listed as questionable. He has a quad injury. It's just really tight, and he just didn't practice on Friday, leaving the door open for him possibly not to play this Sunday against the Miami Dolphins. Who knows? Either way, he's listed as questionable, so may get in, may not. Who knows? All I know is he's listed as questionable. If he's not playing, it's a huge, huge plus for the Dolphins defense, because Deebo is a problem. And another thing is concerning that the Dolphins have is their questionable tackling. It's been a problem as of late, and Deebo is one of those type of guys who doesn't go down very easily. So if he's not in, a little bit more faithful in the Dolphins pulling off a win here. But if he's in, then it's gonna be tough. Another thing is Elijah Mitchell, running back, just got put on injured reserve actually today, and not sure what the injury is, but he's been their lead back since the beginning of the season, I believe. If not, when someone else got hurt. Trent Williams, offensive tackle, he is listed as questionable with a back injury. Charles Onaminu, defensive end, listed as questionable. Spencer Buford, offensive tackle, listed as questionable with an ankle injury. And nothing new. I mean, like, the next guy on this list would be Trey Lance on injured reserve with an ankle injury as of November 14th. So don't think it's too prevalent to the conversation about this game. Now, this is an important game for both teams. You have the Dolphins, who are fighting for the division lead, especially with Buffalo getting a win on Thursday night. Definitely puts the Dolphins in a position of a must-win game if they want to come out and stay within that division lead. And, there's games down the line, especially the one in 2 weeks against the Buffalo Bills, that will be a main deciding factor whether or not the Dolphins could come out on top in the division. But currently, Buffalo sits on top, 9-3. Miami's 8-3, still needing to play their game. New York is right behind the Dolphins, 7-4, and then New England lost to Buffalo this week, making them 6-6. Now for the 49ers, they're also on top of the division, 7-4, but they have Seattle right on their tail at 6-5. The rest of the division looking unlikely that they can make a run to, win it, because Arizona's 4-8 and Los Angeles Rams are 3-8 and very looking unlikely. Guys are hurt all over the place for the Rams, so I would put that as a no for the Rams. Possibly for the Cardinals if they can get on a little run, but even then, I don't think it's possible for them. Now, let's start talking about this game. I mentioned it earlier. Both teams match up with each other pretty well, in my opinion. Good offense for the Dolphins. Really good defense for the 49ers. I mean, they're on top of the league in most statistics in terms of, yardage, points, stuff like that. Let's talk about it. Dolphins are averaging 25.6 points a game. San Fran is allowing 15.7. Put that into perspective. That's just above 2 touchdowns. Really good defense by them. Now, San Fran's offense is averaging 22.6. Meanwhile, the Dolphins are averaging 23.3 in terms of defense. Offensively, Dolphins are outputting 400 yards a game, and San Fran is putting out 67 per game offensively. 305 passing for the Dolphins, 243 passing for the 49ers, 94.8 for the Dolphins rushing, 124.4 for the 49ers rushing. So it's a bit concerning. Dolphins got to limit that rushing game because that's something the 49ers do really well, is limiting the rush. Yards allowed defensively, Dolphins are averaging just at 359.9, so I'll put it at 360. San Fran allowing 301, pretty much 302. It's not a lot. And in the grand scheme of things, it's not a lot. I know it's a 60-yard difference per game, but that adds up. Passing yards allowed, Dolphins are allowing 250. San Fran's allowing 222. Dolphins are allowing 109 rushing yards. San Fran allowing 79.5 rushing yards. It's not a lot. It's less than 80. Gosh. Dolphins are on a 5-game winning streak since Tua has come back and has been told to retire and just, give up. It's 5-0, 10 touchdowns, no interceptions, over 1,000 yards. How's that? But Jimmy Garoppolo is no slouch right now for the 49ers. So far on the season, he's not far off in terms of totals for the compared to Tua. He has 2,381 yards, 16 TDs, 4 interceptions, off of 205 completions on 304 attempts. Tua is 198 completions, 284 attempts, 2,564 yards, 19 touchdowns, 3 interceptions, having himself quite the year. Possibly an MVP type of year. Yep, I said it. I'm going to vote for Tua to be MVP. I know. Why did I even say that? Because it's a reporter type of thing. Either way, I think he has my vote. Tua should be getting MVP considerations. He's had quite the season so far. All right, let's talk about the keys to victory for the Miami Dolphins. Key number 1, let's talk about offense. Enforce the run. I understand you're facing one of the best rush defenses in the NFL, but you need to enforce the run. You need to make it look like you're going to be running the ball at least sometimes, right? Because if you just immediately just continue to go to the pass game, it's not going to be a good look for the Dolphins. Why? Because San Fran's going to be like, okay, they're just passing the ball. Like, we can just tee off on Tua and try to get him down. You need to have the element of the run within this offense to have success against this 49ers team. I get it. You're not going to get a lot of yards. Who cares? I'd rather have a multi-dimensional team on offense than a one-dimensional team that they know you're going to be passing, so they're just going to be sitting back and rushing really hard. And I know Tua's getting out the ball fast, so it shouldn't be too much of a concern, but you always want to have an element of surprise. Also, offensively, whoever plays at right tackle, left tackle, because I believe both of our offensive tackles will be out for this game. Yeah, I'm saying it. Teron Armstead more than likely will not play this game. I believe it's Greg Little, and I don't know if they're pushing out Liam Eichenberg for it. Either way, whoever steps in, please protect Tua. This defensive line for the 49ers includes a guy like Nick Bosa, who will fold him in half if he gets a chance. You don't want to see that. Especially as a Dolphins fan, you do not want to see that. Now, defensively, I mentioned that Debo may or may not play this game, but that's not the biggest thing they got to worry about. There's also George Kittle, Brandon Ayuk, Christian McCaffrey. So, there's other guys for this San Fran team. I mean, Brandon Ayuk is leading the team in receptions and receiving yards. 51 receptions, 652 yards, 6 touchdowns. He's been having the better receiving year than Debo has, which is surprising to see. But it's tough. You gotta limit those guys. You can't let all 3 of them go off. I'm understanding if one can get loose every now and then, but you cannot consistently allow these guys to beat you defensively. On top of that, Jimmy Garoppolo does not like pressure. And I know you're going to say, oh, Austin, no quarterback likes pressure. I understand that. But Jimmy Garoppolo especially does not thrive under pressure. Some guys, can escape and do all this stuff. Jimmy Garoppolo, I wouldn't say he's necessarily a statue, but he's from the school of Tom Brady. He's going to sit in the pocket and try to tear you up with his arm, which don't blame him. He has a pretty good arm. But got to apply that pressure no matter what. Pretty much it. convince them that you're trying to run the ball every now and then. Protect Tua, talking to your offensive tackles. And defensively, limit the big three, if not the big four, if Debo plays. And then lastly, get to Jimmy Garoppolo. Special teams, Jay Sanders, have a perfect game, please, because if you don't, it could very well jeopardize the possibility of winning this game. That's pretty much it for this 49ers game preview. One thing I got to say, if you haven't noticed yet, Dolphins, Chargers next week got flexed to Sunday Night Football. It was supposed to be just a normal 4 p.m. Eastern Time kickoff. Now it is considered Sunday Night Football. So any of you guys who didn't know that, now you know. Possibility of more games getting flexed down the line. I think maybe the Buffalo. I wouldn't think the Buffalo game because it's right after the Chargers. Big consideration for the Jets game if both teams are fighting for a playoff spot or a division, whatever it may be. Who knows? But that pretty much wraps it up. Hope you guys enjoyed the video, and I'll catch you guys tomorrow after the game. Peace.